This video is an introduction on how to find the first of our 5 characteristics, the roots of your parabola, given a quadratic expression. First of all, what are our roots? Remember, your roots are the places where you cross the x-axis. And there's something very special about the x-axis. It occurs when y is equal to 0. Anything on that x-axis, y equals 0. And this is why our first step is set f of x equal to 0. For ease, we normally write the equal 0 on the other side because we like to use this phrase. Equals 0 for roots. Next on our list, because there's no way for you to end up with x on one side of there, numbers on the other when you solve this equation, we have to factorize. It's a trinomial. Your teachers will have told you their way of getting you to factorize. I'll do my way, but you can fast forward if this isn't the one you're comfortable with. A is the coefficient in front of x squared, 1. B, the coefficient in front of x, 1. C, the bit hanging on at the end, so that's minus 2. You set up your cross, A times C, B, so we've got 1 times minus 2. B is 1. Now we're looking for something that multiplies to give you minus 2. So we can take a guess that's going to be a combination of 1 and 2. But they need to add to give you 1. Now, it wouldn't be possible if they're both positive. We're wanting them to multiply to give you a negative. So either 2 or 1 must be negative. Because the 1's positive, it means the bigger number is positive and the smaller one is negative. So 2 times minus 1 gives you negative 2. 2 take away 1 gives you 1. And you fill in your brackets. Plus 2 minus 1. You have factorized. Now the next step, we have factorized, we are on splitting. What we have to do is consider how can you multiply two things together to get 0? And I challenge you to think of two values that multiply to give you 0, but neither of them are 0 themselves. With a couple of minutes of thinking about it, hopefully you'd convince yourself that's not possible. Okay? In order for something to multiply to give you 0, one of the two things must be 0. And this is the fact we rely on. So we split our two things that multiply and say that either the first one or the second one equals 0. Done. Let's have a look at the fourth step. Solve. Now at the minute we've got x plus 2 equals 0. It's quite straightforward therefore to go, well, what does x equal? So we take the plus 2 across and that'll be negative 2 on the other side. And we take the negative 1 across and it will be positive 1 on the other side. And you have successfully found two roots. Looking back at our graph, what does that mean? Well, that means that this root would be minus 2 and that one would be positive 1. Looking at the next one. So we have f of x equals x squared, take away 9. Step 1, set it equal to 0. So x squared minus 9 equals 0 for roots. Factorize. Do we have a highest common factor? No. Do we have the difference of two squares? Yes. So we have two brackets. Now the square root of x squared equals x, so it goes at the front. And the square root of 9 equals 3, so 3 goes at the end. Plus minus equals 0. We've got to split it up because we know that they're going to multiply to give you 0, so either x plus 3 equals 0 or x take away 3 equals 0. I double underline my or to remind me that I need to do it, okay? If you become used to emphasizing it, you'll remember better. Now, x plus 3 equals 0, which means x is minus 3. X minus 3 equals 0, which means x would be 3 in that situation. What would this parabola look like? Well, it would cross at minus 3 and 3, and it would therefore be symmetrical around the y-axis, so around x being 0. We don't know anything else about it, but we do know that. Okay, looking at the last example, what do we have to do? We have to set it equal to 0. So x squared minus 9x equals 0 for roots. We have to factorize. Do we have a highest common factor? They both have an x, so we take out an x. We need to split. Here is interesting. One of our factors is just x, so we have x equals 0. Or, on the other side, we have x minus 9 equals 0. We don't have to solve that first one. It's already done for us. X is 0. On the second one, we take the minus 9 across, and we have x equals positive 9. Again, you have found your two roots. What would this look like? Well, if we sketch it quickly, we'd be crossing at 0, we'd be crossing at 9, and in the middle, your parabola would have its turning point somewhere down there. Set f of x equals to 0 for roots, factorize, split them up, and solve the mini equations.